Welcome, everybody. My name is Marilee Burnett, and I am back with the messages for the week of October 7th, 2024, where we are past the solar eclipse, we're past the lunar eclipse, we're in between, right, lunar events, but we still have a lot of energy to contend with this week, so we are going to break it all down and look at how it might affect you. Now, if you want to make sure you don't miss any of these updates, please click on that subscribe button below. I love your comments and your feedback as well, so I really appreciate that. And then definitely go out to my website, marileeburnett.com. It is there where you'll find all of my free resources, all of my guides and materials, especially the breakdown for the month of October. And if you want to review my eclipse articles and see, hey, how spot on were they? What are you experiencing? What did you need to let go of in order to open up to new opportunities and move on? All right. Also out there, you always will see whatever special offers I have as far as readings and discounts go. And maybe there's still a really great discount rate for eclipse readings that you can go out there and take a look at. Eclipses influence us for more than just a day. It can be the next 6 months. It can be a year, especially as we're going to see the eclipses shift in 2025. That preview for 2025, because we have so much changing, will be out shortly as well, and you won't want to miss it. So again, just remember to click on that subscribe button. All right. I am just going to jump right in and start doing this breakdown. I will run through all the key events that will happen for this week. I may not hit all of them, but that's why you have the backup of my monthly articles that you can check on as well. Plus, don't forget my dailies, right? I post daily on all of the multitude of platforms that are out there. So check me out for daily messages. I pull a tarot or an oracle card and give you a little pep talk every day. So don't miss those as well. And they can be found on my website. Yes, marileeburnett.com. All right. Whew. Let us get started with the breakdown. Of course, I use Astro Gold software, and you can see that we're looking at October 7th of 2024. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about Monday, because Tuesday's where things really start to kick off. So we're going to focus there. But I am going to point out a couple of things that are going to be long-standing. One is the fact that we've got Jupiter in this sextile with Chiron. So what do we need to learn about our pain, our healing, right? What do we need to learn in order to be more confident, in order to strike out on our own? So that's going to go on for quite some time. So I'm not going to talk about it except for when it gets activated by a transiting planet like it is about to here with Mercury. And that's what we're going to talk to in part on Tuesday. But just keep that in mind. You're going to see this, but I'm not going to talk about it every single day because you would get exhausted of listening to me. So we won't. The other thing that you're going to see, and this started last week at the time of the eclipse, was we've had this grand water trine between Venus, Mars, and Saturn, all in the water signs, right? And anytime we have grand water trine, it's up to you to take advantage of the energy that's available to you, trusting your intuition, your feelings, and following them. And then whenever the lovers of the zodiac, which are Venus and Mars, speak in harmony with one another, it's even the masculine and the feminine that are working together. Scorpio and Cancer energy. Again, lots of things are possible and available to us, but we have to pursue what we love and what we want and what we desire in order for anything to come of it. All right, so let us move ahead, and we're going to dig into some really juicy energy on Tuesday. All right, so on Tuesday, we have what's called a mystic triangle, but it's also an envelope, because this, I said triangle and I meant rectangle, a mystic rectangle. It's still Mercury crazy stuff right now while I'm recording, so bear with me. In a mystic rectangle, right, there's this magical opportunity that's available to you, and it's created by 4 planets. This is 2 in sextile, and then 2 that are creating a trine to one another. So it's very, very positive energy that's available to you. But then we get this envelope shape by adding in 4 more planets that are at opposition to one another, which includes, of course, the planets that are also in trine and sextile. So I like to think of this as some kind of a special delivery out of this tension, right? What we learn through the opposition energy is how to resolve the differences. So there could be incredible peace talks on Tuesday. Maybe the unions meet and have some breakthroughs. There's some kind of a special delivery. And while it might cause some tension, this information from the envelope that we receive, that there is like a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow that is possible, right? So this should be a very intriguing day on Tuesday as we watch this. So I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to talk about all the Jupiter and Chiron unless it's being activated by something. And so today, that sextile is half of this rectangle. And the other half is created by Mercury and the moon. So this is a brief moment, right? Because the moon moves so quickly. And as the moon is in Sagittarius, it opposes Jupiter, which is the ruler of Sagittarius. Jupiter is a wise and benefic teacher, right? And so there could be important wisdom that is shared with the collective on this day. There is something about foreign people, foreign countries. Maybe it's a foreign woman leader, right, with that moon energy. And then we have this Mercury in the sign of Libra, which is something to do with law and justice and relationships. This could be some kind of a conflict, right, with Chiron and Aries. Some kind of relationship tension. So this is going to be a very intriguing day, right? And of course, we have the nodes, north and south, are still in Libra and Aries as well. So something about our fated journey of learning about independence, of moving away from, right? Because Mercury is movement, moving on from relationships, moving on from contracts, moving on from commitments, and using our head, right? Changing our thinking, right? There's something that is definitely a big pressure cooker today, but there's a hidden gift and a hidden blessing in that we won't want to miss. So you can explore where this is happening in your chart. Of course, it's happening in Libra and Aries. So some of this eclipse energy is coming up too. Even though we're not near the eclipse points, we're still within the energy of that. So there may be something that helps you decide to fully let go and move on from what your eclipse lesson was. So be very curiously detached, is my saying, whenever we go through these things where we would just think, oh my goodness, what in the world? Take a breath before you overreact to it. And during this time, we still, again, the feminine and the masculine joining together, working creatively together, to help us through whatever this major event ends up being. Okay. So mark this day as a very intriguing one, and definitely keep me posted about whatever you are experiencing at this time. All right. As we move to Wednesday, I always say, I don't normally talk that much about the moon, but I'm just bringing up that this is the first square by the moon to the nodes since the eclipse. So it's one that we want to, again, pay attention to your intuition. And if it is guiding you to make some specific change, don't fight it, right? Now, moon in Capricorn is very logical. It keeps its emotions in check so that it can do the work that's necessary. So there is, again, something that could affect a government leader, right? That is a part of some kind of a legal issue that they're embroiled in. And they're going to have to change, right? They're going to have to learn how to meet in the middle, whatever this battle is about. So it's just not a huge energy, but one that, fate can kind of turn up the knob a little there, and we want to be aware. So I just want to call that out for Wednesday. Now, as we get into Thursday, I'll try to keep my day straight this week. As we get into Thursday, we have 2 yods this week, and this is the first one. So yod, finger of God, a fated mission, an assignment that you're given. And of course, anybody who has planets at 21 degrees or close before and after that, but it's specifically 21 degrees in Scorpio, you've got an assignment. There's something really important that you are meant to do. And it isn't necessarily easy or straightforward. Venus, right, in Scorpio brings us a very intense experience when it comes to love and money, right? And it is speaking in an odd angle to Jupiter and Gemini. And oh yeah, here's that sextile again to Chiron being activated. So we're starting to understand how Jupiter and Chiron can help us through these difficult times. And Venus is the way out of this awkwardness, right? Venus. Now, fortunately, Venus with Jupiter can bring overindulgence, but it's usually not a difficult type of energy. And, Venus in Chiron, what's interesting about this energy is, remember, Venus has been speaking in harmony with Mars, who's having temper tantrums in the sign of Cancer. But then you have Aries and Scorpio, both places that Mars is very comfortable with. So it just may be that over this last few days, Venus has gotten trained on what it is that she needs to do, what she needs to transform. What do you need to transform? Remember, Scorpio is death and rebirth. So there's something that we need to let go of and stop hanging on to so that we can understand what's next. So you're going to see part of that today. What's next for you? If you allow whatever this is, what house does this happen in for you, to be transformed instead of staying stuck. And Jupiter and Chiron will help you through it, but you have to do the work. And so it could have something to do with women specifically, because we're talking about Venus, women in a position of authority and power, something about a specific woman in that kind of a position. So this will be, again, a very interesting day that we want to pay attention to. And like I mentioned, just the first of the yods. Then what we're going to watch over the next couple of days is this T-square that is being created between the Sun and Mars, and then Chiron again. But what we're getting a snapshot preview, I guess you could say, today is the moon being in Capricorn still and being part of this tension. And the way out is shining a light on doing the right thing and what is fair and what is balanced. And again, we've got a lot of this masculine and feminine energy going on this week where there's challenges. So the moon in Capricorn, very masculine, hardworking energy, is standing across the sky from Mars in Cancer, which is the moon's home sign. So the moon can appreciate what Mars is doing in its home sign, but it doesn't necessarily like it. And so there may be words going on so that Mars can behave. But again, in a T-square, the way out is at the top of the pressure. And that's somehow creating a successful relationship or coming to an agreement, right? Things that can be acknowledged on both sides in order for each person to be understood, and then each person's needs to be met, right? So there could be somebody in the spotlight that helps resolve some kind of a legal conflict. So we're going to see this over the next few days. So we'll want to keep an eye on that. And like I said, it's going to shift and change. So that is Thursday. On Friday, as I mentioned, we're starting to see the buildup of this T-square. We've still got the sextile between Chiron and Jupiter. And today we have, you can't see it as well because it's really faint, the next yacht. But this time, the way to get through it, the mission is with Mercury in Libra. So it kind of makes sense that you've got this sun square tension showing you now the plan, right? And Mercury's about executing whatever that plan is. Mercury's communication. It can be transportation. It is helping bridge the gap between two sides in order to come to a resolution, right? So again, this one is being helped by Uranus in Taurus. So there's some kind of financial negotiation going on. And it is speaking in harmony with Neptune in Pisces. So this could be about water. So I'm saying on this day, there's potential for especially the longshoreman strike that's going on in America to some kind of movement on this day is possible. Of course, it's a mission. You have to accept it. Will the president of the union accept the offer? I don't know, but I'm guessing that there is something that comes about on that day. Now, the nice thing about Uranus and Neptune working together is they're bringing information up to the surface. They're creative with their solutioning, and it can be really surprising. So look for this to be a very interesting day in that particular arena. What else do we have on that day? Well. Drum roll, please, because this is the day where Pluto ends its retrograde. So Pluto will slow today. You can't get much slower, but it will slow today and end its retrograde. So your review, which again, this is why it makes sense that some kind of government contract work is happening today and getting resolved, because now everything that's been under review and under discussion needs to start moving forward. And this planet will move forward very slowly until mid-November, when it clears this space, literally, and moves into the sign of Aquarius. So this is the end of the work since 2008 that you've been doing. What has that been? Some years it's been more intense than others. It can be very psychological in nature, the work that you've been doing. But again, this is a planet that rules Scorpio, death and rebirth. So what has transformed for you? Can you look back at 2008 and then look at yourself now and think, wow, I never thought I would get here? Then even though it was difficult, it was worth the work. So this is also related to the government. Capricorn is government type of energy, government type of work. So again, we're not trying to stay stuck. We're trying to be innovative and creative and move forward. That's what the story between Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus is telling us. And they're going to continue telling us this into 2025 and 2026 because all of these planets move so slowly. So we're just starting to understand and see what's been hidden beneath the surface. And there's an energy there that's helping us, and you won't really see it, but you will know it. So we're going to continue to talk about that. So that is all of the things I want to talk about on Friday, making sure, yes. Check. All right. Let's move forward to Saturday. On Saturday, as I mentioned, we're still seeing things build, but we're not seeing anything exact yet. So I am going to move us straight on to Sunday. But you will notice here on Saturday that there's Pluto, no longer red with the retrograde color. It's moving forward. So again, whatever planets you have, especially if you have planets at 29 degrees of Capricorn, this test, right? This work that you've been doing, it's time to move that work forward. It's time to graduate, right? The testing period between now and mid-November is to see, did you do the work? Are you ready to graduate? Are you ready to take this to the next level? And have you built those solid foundations? You will be the one that answers that question over these next several weeks. Okay. On Sunday, last day of the week, we're just flying right along here. And we're ending off again with some more intensity. So, and you can see it, right? It's super bright now. And it's so interesting looking at how bold the energy is, but how even though there's challenging, the red energy, there's that blue energy right there to support you to get through the challenges. So you have the help you need. Don't get stuck in what's challenging. Look to the energy that can help you manage the challenge. That's the information that you got on Tuesday in that mystic ring rectangle. There's the plan in there. Did you open your envelope? Because it's going to be important to how you manage this day on Sunday, October 13th. So here's one of your Pluto tests. As it's moving forward, it's having a difficult conversation with Mercury before it leaves Libra and then moves into Scorpio. And let me tell you, people that I work with who have Mercury in Scorpio are like little detectives. They're stirring stuff up. They're finding hidden things and information. So be ready for a lot of curiosity, a lot of secrets being exposed involving sex and power. I'm not going to say what I think is coming up because it's just going to not be good stuff. So, but we'll see that over the next 3 weeks with Mercury moving into Scorpio. Before it does, right, there may be some difficulty that involves legal issues, and there's some significant change that needs to happen. There could be a change in a government role, a leadership role, something legal, right? With this energy of a square, something has to change. So there can be a legal challenge that has to be resolved. And remember, Pluto's about learning to stay in your power. So don't give your power away to any relationship at this time because it will not serve you. You think you're avoiding the issue to just get along, but you can't be taken advantage of. But Pluto's like, no, step into your power. So how do we do that? Well, the other thing that's helping Mercury is speaking in harmony with the moon in Aquarius. So this is your mind and your intuition working on the same page, right? So instead of just being in your head and ignoring your intuition or not being logical and just thinking you just have to follow this thing is telling me to do this. They're working together. And these are air signs, right? So these are ideas and conversations and good flow. So that's where you go to help resolve whatever this conflict is through conversation, through the sharing of ideas, and through trusting your intuition. So that's one area that's a challenge. Then we're on to the other one, and this will continue into next week. But Sunday, we start to see the conflict, right? Sun in Libra is opposing that Chiron in Aries. It is me versus we conflict, right? This is somebody who could be in a position of power that is in an argument with other people who have joined together, like in a lawsuit. And the way out of it is Mars in Cancer. So Mars in Cancer is taking action on your feelings, right? Taking action that helps care and nurture for other people. So you can't just lash out, right? You have to express yourself and understand the hurt and the pain that you've caused other people, and show them how you're going to make up for it. Show them what action you will take to help women, right, heal, for instance. So something involving women and their pain may come up at this time, and we've got to see what men will do to fix it. And then the sun is going to be speaking in harmony with Jupiter. Now, this is a big blessing. And of course, it's opposing that Chiron energy, but the Chiron energy is also speaking in harmony. So there's a potential for something major to be solved and healed at this time, for an agreement to be made. Out of this tension, how do I resolve it? Well, I'm choosing what's for the greater good. If I am the sun, I'm not choosing myself. I'm choosing what will help others. And I'm communicating that, and I'm coming up with a plan that benefits other people. So again, feeling a lot about some of the strikes and issues that we have going on right now, where they're again, there's some frustration for families. Also, Mars in Cancer. But if those families are listened to and their needs are listened to, right, we can come to resolution. Men who work on the water. So again, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I can just tell you these are some potentials. So we'll see if this has anything to do with the longshoreman strike or not. Hopefully it does, because we don't need people not able to get what they need that comes to us across the ocean and in the boats, right? Okay, so that's Sunday, a pretty big day. So we'll see how that all turns out. And then next week, as I mentioned, we're going to still see this energy with this T-square. We're going to see some craziness with the Venus opposition. And then we will have the full moon in Aries. And that's going to be the first full moon event, right? That is not a part of the eclipse. And so the moon in Aries stands across the sky from the sun in Libra. And again, this brings something to fullness that benefits the individual, your personal goals. So we'll be talking about that more next week. And of course, I have drawn tarot cards for the week as well. So go check out that. I'll link the recording to that at the end of this. And then, of course, next week as well. I always do the same. I put out an astro lesson as well as tarot cards for every sign, so that you get a really good look at the opportunities that will present yourself in the week ahead. So I hope you find that valuable and helpful. All right, so that means you got to make sure you register and become a member of my website and my YouTube channel, where, of course, I post these. So thank you so much. Again, give me your comments, give me your feedback. I'm always open to it, and I appreciate all of your support, and I really appreciate it if you share this with somebody who thinks they could use a little extra help. I'd like to be that person that helps them. All right, guys, thank you. Have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you next week. Take care. Be sure and check out your weekly tarot card messages as well. Those, along with this astro lesson, are going to give you the big picture. Thanks again for tuning in. Talk to you next week.